If a stranger knocked on your door with 100% certainty that you were not safe inside, would you trust them? I just saw Oddity and I'm just amazed with the shit going on in people's heads. The cinematography, the plot, the characters, they are great, and the mystery at hand is even better. Movie starts and we meet Dany, alone in a big, beautiful, faraway house, no Wi-Fi or anything. Fixing up the house, she says she can reach a signal in a certain spot. The only place in the house you can reach a phone signal. She is boarding a square section of the floor and uses the signal to call her husband at work. He is a doctor at a psychiatric hospital. Amongst mostly casual conversation, Dany mentions on the phone that she is hesitant to ask her sister Darcy about these weekly check-ins she's supposed to be attending but hasn't been showing up. In an attempt to comfort his wife, Ted says he can ask her because he is a doctor, so maybe it'll be better. He says he will be the villain for her. That night, Dany is still alone at the house and loses her phone, and as she is looking for it, comes back inside, getting a knock on the door from a strange man. He looks distressed and has one working eye and one glass eye. He says that when she went out to the car to look, he saw someone go in her house. In the house to specifically attack and kill her. Dany is both scared and confused, threatening her husband will be back any minute, but the man says her husband works nights. Asking who came in and how he could know that, he just says he saw him and he is currently in there with her right now. And this was the point in the movie where I almost pissed myself. The man tells her she will be unsafe if she doesn't let him in to come help. The film then cuts to a year later and we meet Darcy, her identical twin sister and psychic. Dany is dead. Darcy owns an antique shop. There's a bell in it. Ted comes to visit and she explains to him that the bell is cursed, but he doesn't believe in that kind of thing. She ends up staying with Ted and his new girlfriend Yana on the anniversary of Dany's passing. Staying with them at Ted's where Dany died and also being a medium, she will use her talents to uncover the truth, as it is believed Olin killed Dany. Yana is a woman Ted met 2 years ago at the hospital. She shows Ted the pictures from Dany's camera. In one of them, we see her face. When Ted asks why that is so weird, Yana said the picture is from after Dany's murder. Ted shrugs it off, as again he doesn't believe in that kind of thing. The movie continues to flash back to that night as Darcy pieces together what happened. Darcy freaks Yana out. When Darcy arrives at their house, it is clear she is also blind. With her was sent a wooden box, and in it is something that shocks Yana. Ted doesn't really care. He is able to get out of the house quickly for work, but Yana loses her keys. We see that what is inside the wooden box is a wooden figure. It looks like the body of a human, kind of rubbery looking, and it sits at the table like a normal human being. Yana and Darcy have a conversation about what happened to Dany, and Darcy says Olin did not kill her sister. Yana of course asks who did, but Darcy is not 100% sure yet. She says she will use objects that belong to the dead in order to piece together the truth. Holding an object they own makes you closer to them. There's a few objects that Dany and Darcy owned inside this wooden statue. Teddy is at work and is close to a worker there named Ivan. When Yana calls him, he is again dismissive of her strange behavior and of the strange wooden statue sitting at their table. But when Yana says Darcy doesn't think Olin killed Dany, he wants to know exactly what she said. Darcy connects to the wooden statue and they start to basically mirror one another. It's dark in the house a lot of the time and we, like Yana, don't really know what's going on, and it only adds to the suspense and creepiness. Yana is in bed scrolling through the pictures of Dany's camera when a ghouly girl pops up in one of them. Freaking out, she runs over to the ledge of the stairs and drops her phone. When she looks down where it fell, the wooden figure creepy statue thing is sitting in the same position at the table, only its head is looking straight up at Yana. She goes downstairs to the wooden creature and sees there are 5 holes in its head and the items there that help Darcy connect to it and to Dany. Not only is Darcy playing with one possession from the dead to figure out what happened, but several stuffed into its head. It was pretty creepy. Yana, fully creeped out, now finally finds her keys in the bottom of that wooden box. She takes them and drives off far away as possible. It's the last we see or hear from Yana in the whole film, besides the voicemail she leaves Ted. Since Darcy has been connected to the mannequin, she's been gaining knowledge on what happened to her twin. In the climax of the film, she sees and tells Ted to his face that she knows he had her sister killed a year ago. He did this because he wanted a relationship with Yana instead of Dany, but Dany was too in love with him and he didn't want to break her heart. He had Ivan, the orderly he is close with, go to his home where Dany was and kill her in the tent if he could, he says. Only Olin only had one eye because his mother blinded the first one and was after the second, so he killed her. That's how he ended up in the mental hospital. Darcy had Olin's eye because she possessed the mannequin and killed him. She tells this to Ted as well, and she says she will in fact pay for that because he is not the bad guy here. He is not the one who killed Dany. Dany's death in this movie is quite horrific as well. Ivan is in a black cape and a white mask and did it with a hammer. Darcy now sitting in the spot of the house Dany felt a connection to her, all the answers came to her. While telling her that what she thinks of him simply isn't true, he says he will go back to the hospital, call the detective that was on the case, and have him call Darcy there at the house to tell him her theory. All she has to do is wait, and when the phone rings, pick it up. So Ted goes back to the hospital, and he calls Darcy at the house, not the detective. We see her just in front of that square section that Dany was covering up in the beginning of the film. It is not covered now, as Ted had removed it before he left, knowing Darcy is blind and would fall into it had she gone to get the phone. She unfortunately does just that when the phone rings, and ends up falling right through down to the first level. Not completely dead, but almost. Ted makes Ivan go to the house to finish the job, but he gets literally chased around the house by the wooden mannequin and breaks his leg falling off a ledge. He ends up in the psychiatric hospital where Ted works. Ted has won. Darcy is dead. Ivan is about to be next. Dany has been dead. Ted explains to Ivan that he is now a patient, as he told them what happened with the wooden man, mirroring Ted's earlier dialogue that he is a doctor. He is literally the villain. He can do what he wants because, as he explains to Ivan in the end, no one asks questions in a place like a mental hospital. When he gets home not believing in ghosts, still fully skeptical, he receives a package, and in it is the hotel lobby bell from Darcy's antique shop. He reluctantly rings it, still with the confidence that he is untouchable basically, and a bellhop ghost appears right behind him. And the movie ends. Dany couldn't trust a crazy guy but was in love with one. Withdrawn. The whole movie. Something is clearly wrong with Ted, right? Darcy tried to bring the truth to light about what really happened to her sister. She wanted to expose Ted for the monster he really is. Even Ivan questioned why he didn't just divorce Dany. He's a monster. There were a lot of monsters in this one. One can knock on your door at night and deliver horrific news. One you can love and trust with all your heart, even though they have negative intentions. And some monsters are accidentally born trying to save someone else. Great movie. I will be watching Oddity in my home when it's streaming. And lastly, to answer my own question, if a stranger knocked on your door with 100% certainty you were not safe inside, would you trust them? Best to act like you heard absolutely nothing and instead consider why your super unattached husband wants you in his sketchy, faraway house with no Wi-Fi in the first place.